Uh-oh. Well, I don't think the New York Times is going to like this very much. Here's the headline. Elon Musk said he fears a single world government could lead to the collapse of civilization while speaking at the World Government Summit. So who's this World Government Summit? I mean, we already have the World Economic Forum. Now we got another world thing. What is this all about? Well, let's see. Here's the webpage, World Government Summit 2023. So let's take a little look. Let's see, there's Erdogan, and there he is, Klaus Schwab. Anytime there's a group of people that want to control the world, you know he's going to be there. Let's see, Klaus Schwab urges new mechanisms to boost international cooperation in a multi-power world. Yes, and we know what his mechanisms are. Let's see, corporations own everything and you have to rent from them. Let's see, you have to eat bugs. You don't get to drive a car anymore. Let's see, you have to live in a pod and have no privacy. None of which I'm assuming will apply to Klaus Schwab and his friends. But this is amazing to me because if you're going to have some sort of world summit, and you don't want to look like a bunch of, evil supervillains, the last thing you're going to do is invite Klaus Schwab to it. So I guess the question is, what's Elon Musk doing at this? I mean, I guess he's not totally un-globalist, because he does have factories all over the place, including China. But he doesn't seem to be favored by the World Economic Forum, and they don't like him, and he doesn't seem to like them. So what's he doing at this world government thing that has Klaus Schwab at it? Well, it looks like he just went there to tell them that they're all wrong. So let's take a look.
One thing I should say, and I know this is called the World Government Summit, but I think we should be maybe a little bit concerned about actually becoming too much of a single world government. If I may say, that we want to avoid creating a civilizational risk by having, frankly, this may sound a little odd, too much cooperation between governments. If you look at, say, at history and the rise and fall of civilizations, that really all throughout history, civilizations have risen and fallen, but it hasn't meant the doom of humanity as a whole, because there've been all these separate civilizations that were separated by great distances. And so, say like while Rome was falling, Islam was rising, and so you had like the sort of caliphate doing incredibly well while Rome was doing terribly. And that actually ended up being a source of preservation of knowledge and many scientific advancements. And so, so I think we want to be a little bit cautious about being too much of a single civilization, because if we are too much of a single civilization, then if the whole thing may collapse. I'm obviously not suggesting war or anything like that, but I think we want to be a little bit wary of actually cooperating too much. It sounds a little odd, but we want to have some amount of civilizational diversity such that if something does go wrong with some part of civilization, that the whole thing doesn't collapse, and humanity keeps moving forward.
So I'm guessing that's not what the world government circle jerk wanted to hear. And here Elon Musk comments to this video clip being posted with, seemed like the right venue. Definitely. Again, probably not what they wanted to hear, but it does make perfect sense, having civilizational diversity, because, over-centralization has a bad track record for humanity. Central planning has been responsible for horrific amounts of death, starvation in places like, the Soviet Union, or say Mao's China. We're talking tens of millions of people starving to death because of insane, ideologically captured agricultural policies. That's central planning for you. That's putting all your eggs ideologically in one basket. So he's quite right to say that. I mean, having some civilizational diversity can act as a hedge civilizationally. So if one country decides to become some sort of neo-communist and they all start starving to death, not everybody in the world starts starving to death. Because, there were maybe other people in the world that picked up a couple of history books and didn't make the same mistake. So yeah, I approve of this statement. Kind of reminds me a little bit. Maybe he was inspired by Trump a little bit. Do you remember when Trump went in front of another globalist body, the UN, and told Germany that they were going to be totally dependent on Russian energy? Yeah, that's not what they wanted to hear. The Germans just smirked about it. This article's from 2018. Well, the Germans aren't smirking anymore, are they? He actually went to the World Economic Forum. He spoke at Davos. He urged the world to ignore the prophets of doom. In a speech just minutes before teenage activist Greta Thunberg addressed a session called Averting a Climate Apocalypse. As if a climate apocalypse was any of her business in the first place. But anyway, Trump warned that there were forces at work that aimed to, quote, destroy our economy and wreck our country or eradicate our liberty. Quote, to embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of apocalypse. And right before Greta Thunberg was set to speak. And you know what? He was right then. It's still right today. And so is Elon Musk. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.